know. It's gonna break the computer, or the whole matrix is gonna fall apart.
We're gonna break. These two are gonna break the internet today.
All right, man.
Oh,
Over
hey.
here. Hey, so what's the best news of the day?
Right now?
I'm gonna start right off.
I'm gonna give it to them.
No, it's just Randy's back, man. So I
yeah.
I was all by my lonesome last time, man. Like,
it didn't work out.
That's just not the same thing, man. But this time I got 4 people. So
I didn't even watch it.
Yeah, all right, man. Awesome. Yeah, I know. Where'd you go?
I went home to Montana and camped and stuff. Pretty cool.
Solid. So today is all about Ask BRStv. Hashtag Ask BRStv. Some changes are coming, and also just kind of exploring where it went. It's been like quite a while. So we got a few people here that maybe you've never even seen. You maybe seen them on there. So
seen their profile picture.
Yeah, our profile pictures.
Yeah, probably.
Right on, man. Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Nick. I've been in the hobby for a good 10, 11 years.
How old are you, man?
26 right now, almost
Yeah,
27.
dude, so
yeah,
like
so not
little teenager.
since high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Dang.
yeah, excited to be with the team here. They're awesome.
So Nick was like one of the people when we said we needed somebody for Ask BRStv. Customer service manager said you can have anybody but Nick, which made me want Nick
We
the
took
most.
Nick.
So awesome. Adam, man.
Yeah, I'm 26 as well. Been in the hobby for, probably about 10 years also. Started out with freshwater like I think most people do, and kind of graduated to saltwater, and here I am.
Does that make you the youngest reefer here? Like how many years you in?
Who, me?
Yeah.
How many years have I been reefing?
Yeah.
Not as long.
Yeah, not as long as 10.
No, but that's okay.
Yeah, I got 15, so at least I don't
I
know.
pick
there
it
you go.
up fast.
You're winning.
Yeah, dive on in. All right, man. So I think we're just going to share some of those successes again with hashtag AskBRStv's group. For those who don't know, you can just join our group over on Facebook. I get instantaneous answers to all kinds of questions, at least for the moment.
Ask BRStv. You have to type the hashtag in there to find it. Well, I mean, you don't have to. You can find us at Ask BRStv, but use the hashtag. You'll find us quicker.
All right, right on. And so it's been going on for a while, and we learned a lot of different things about it. Today, we're going to find some changes at the end. We'll probably find like a couple of new rules, because, you got a group, you're going to have different rules. Things are going to change. And, we're taking feedback from the moderators, these two, and as well as the moderators that are on the board, and learning something. We're going to evolve it. We're going to make it even better than it's ever been. And not just subtle changes. I think some big ones are going to happen today. So hopefully you'll hear about that by the end. And hopefully also join us and see what's going on.
And maybe answer some questions and refund an order or two at the end of the thing. So
I mean, 2 of you. And again,
I picked 2 cards.
Coming at the end, dude. We got 2 cards.
2. Yeah.
And one of them's over $300, and one of them's over $100. And somebody's getting them free if you're a preferred reefer. So we'll learn about that later on. And all right, man. So when was the group created?
August 22nd of 2018, so getting close to a year now.
Yeah.
Year, man. How long have you been doing this now?
I joined right after Black Friday last year.
Okay, so,
so
I ran it solo for a month then, and then I quickly needed Adam because it was like taking off.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't know what to expect. I just thought, hey man, let's join a little group. You can ask questions and stuff. I thought you'd ask Randy and I thought I'd answer like 4 questions a day or something.
Yeah, we had 3,000 people in November when I joined. So
yeah, who knew? Man, they would grow so fast.
Yeah.
How many do we have now then?
Pushing almost 19,000.
And the number I got here is
Crazy.
18,477, so that's pretty close.
Pretty close,
Yeah,
18,500.
dude. All right, so 18,000. So that's a good number. Except for what if nobody's using it? Like, so how many of these people are active?
We got 17,000 active. So,
17,000 of the 18,000
Yeah, every
are
month.
active.
That means 1,000 of you out
What are
there
you doing?
just joined the group and didn't, or they're probably just watching because
They probably wanted
they're
to win
soaking
something.
up information or there to win something.
Yeah, but more importantly, man, how many of them are active every day?
Every day, pushing 12,000.
So
Every single
2/3
day.
of the people in here,
Crazy.
man, are engaging in it every single day. There's like 100 posts every day with somebody asking something about their tank, and then like 100 answers of people trying to help and make sure that whatever problem people are having, it gets solved.
So that means if you're not part of the group, or maybe you're just kind of watching, if you ask a question, there's 12,000 people a day that are either liking, hearting, commenting, giving their input, and kind of helping out.
Yeah, it can be anything from like how do I save my fish to what kind of plumbing should I get? Real simple things, or how do I drill this thing right? Where should I get a bit from, or whatever. So it doesn't have to be super complex. It can be just a community of people that just want to help and engaged and have done some of these things before. I learn from it all the time. I'll share a couple of those examples later. I make an answer that I think is well thought out, and they're like, oh man, that dude actually answered better than me. Because you can't be smart on every last aspect of it, and there's always a way to do it better. So even I'm learning from it. I think a lot of people can learn from it. So
we had Adam come along, and then quickly after Adam came along, we found that we really needed help, and there's 2 people that we have to call out from the community, not BRS affiliated, just like volunteers who are passionate about the hobby, passionate about what they do. And we asked them to be moderators because they were super nice to everybody, and they were really smart and helpful. And they answer all the time. They're on their phone, they're scrolling, they're doing all this. And I'll let Adam speak to these 2 because he talks to them every day.
Yeah, for sure. Nick Korn is one of them. Ryan Thompson's the other.
Yeah.
They are incredibly helpful, and just made my life a lot easier. I know that for sure. Yeah.
So I'll tell you, I try to let Adam run the show because you gotta have freedom to do your job. But I asked him to look for some moderators, and quietly, those 2 were on my list as well. I tend to speak and people listen too hard, so I don't speak up too much. And so I wanted to see what they thought, and I was really happy because not only do they know some about reefing, man, but they treat other people with respect, which is like the number one thing for me is you can be as right as you want to be. People do not accept positive or even accurate information if it's delivered in a really poor, abrasive manner. So these people are really going out of their way to help people be successful, have just like a real kind-hearted way of approaching everything and thinking about respecting everybody. So I was super happy to pick those guys. So big thank you to Nick and Ryan Thompson. Thank you very much. Right on. Also, thank you to Ryan Thompson's wife. So we talked to them on the phone this morning, tell them about the changes that are coming here. And Ryan Thompson said he loves doing this, man, and his wife's super supportive of it. And there's nothing better than having a spouse that supports your passionate hobby, especially when it just sucks up your time on your phone and all day long answering questions. So, man, that's awesome. By the way, ask some questions, and we'll stop periodically and answer whatever questions. Dave's pulling them out for us.
Yeah.
All right, man. So where do we go from here? Let's start with some goals. What's the goals for everything BRS?
First off, just making reefing fun and easy. The goal of the whole business really just ensuring that it's a good time, it's fun, and that it's not too difficult to do.
So that's the hobby, man. Like the hobby end of it is we're here to be successful.
Wow.
And it's painted on the wall, Reefing Fun and Easy.
Yeah.
It's on every single yearly, quarterly document, Reefing Fun and Easy, like as the purpose of the business, Reefing Fun and Easy.
Well, I can tell you that none of the hobbies I've ever been in, and I've dabbled here and there in quite a few, none of them I've ever joined or done to be miserable and have a bad time. So if we can make reefing fun and easy, I mean, easy's cool because I like a challenging hobby. This is definitely one of the more challenging hobbies I've ever been in. But for us to like answer your questions and take, I mean, in this building, the cumulative like knowledge of reefing in years is like decades on decades on decades, and so we use all of that to make it easier for everybody else.
I'd say having a successful reef tank is easy for anybody for about a year.
Yeah.
2 years, a little harder. 10 years, monumentally difficult. You've probably tackled the most difficult pet there is known to man to be able to provide life support continuously for a decade and never fail, right? So fun and easy for me, man, is I don't like failing. And there's so much information out there, and it's just super, super important. So the heart of what we do here is help people be successful with their tanks, because in the end, you know what? What's good for you is good for us. Hopefully, if you're successful for 10 years, maybe you'll buy a pump or something from us. We just kind of work for a reciprocal thing, try to help everybody we possibly can. Hopefully, it works out in the end. So, helpful information is to real challenges is the core of it, man. That is what this is, right?
Yeah.
So, people are asking, what questions people ask every day?
Yeah, like fish disease is one that's really popular to ask about. Algae problems, another one. Cyanobacteria, hair algae.
How many times a day, Aptasia?
Aptasia? Yeah, a couple times a day.
It seems like every time I open my phone, new Aptasia.
We struggle with it too in our own tanks.
Yeah,
so
it's a
it's a common
That's
problem.
a whole different story.
It's a common problem.
Yeah, I learn. the amount of things that, like, it wasn't but a year ago, I said, we're going to beat Aptasia this time by sheer dominance.
Just
the reason
kill
you're
it,
going to
kill
do
it, kill it.
beat it, Josh, is because you're going to kill it every time you see one. And what I did is exponentially multiplied them. So you just learn every time. I thought brute force, man, this time we had it, but you learn something new every day. So, yeah, man, it's all about answering questions. And this group was really designed to be something different. So, can you give me an idea of how different this was supposed to be than your average Facebook group?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, with a lot of groups, it's very, forumy, and you got a lot of people interacting, which we definitely want as well, but it should be more, we're going for direct answers to questions. I mean, it's called Ask BRStv, so we're really trying to give you a BRS voice to what you're asking.
I will tell you. Oh, go ahead.
I think you put it best in that in your live speech at Reefapalooza, where you said you took the advice that you gave and the takeaway you gave was stop listening to everybody and listen to somebody. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we're doing here. Like between the forums, other Facebook groups, all of the 5, 10, 15 different saltwater reefing groups, and all these different places where if that's if you want to get a piece of advice from everybody who's ever touched saltwater, then those are the places to go. But this one's unique in that you're listening to somebody, and it's BRS because, like I said, we have the decades worth of knowledge here.
So we're not perfect, but collectively between like the 100 people that work here and the 30 of them that are into reefing, it's a pretty good amount of knowledge, pretty good things that we've solved, and so I can comfortably say you'll never get terrible advice. Sometimes it'll be better somewhere, but it'll never be terrible and always progress. And I'll just tell you, I was just writing a script 2 days ago about the journey that I started on my first tank, and like the 4,000 posts I had to make just to learn how to do this, and the sea of people and whatever. And ultimately, I was like, man, you know what? When I set up that first 90, every decision I made was the wrong one. All of them, man. From the rock to every piece of equipment. I went through 3 different skimmers before I got the right one, man.
Yeah.
I went through 3 different lights before I got the right one. I went through all kinds of different pumps, flow pumps. Actually, that was part of the fun, on the flow pumps for me. But, like, man, the amount of advice that I got that just didn't pan out.
Yeah.
And it was actually maybe just my terrible, I was listening to the wrong people. I wasn't honed in how to find out who I should listen to, and there's just so much advice out there, and I would say, like, man, I bet you of every answer you get to every question, maybe 5 to 1 questionable advice to really good.
To one really good one.
And to one epic answer to the rest of it, probably like 50 to 1, right?
Yeah.
So the perfect answer that will work for everybody. So I can't say we're going to be perfect, but I can tell you that we're going to do our darn best, right? We're going to work towards that to the best of our ability to help people be most successful. And one of the problems right now is it gets kind of lost, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to solve that in just a minute. But like it just gets lost. Like somebody asks a question, you may answer, but it's like 30 deep. I may answer, it may be like 40 deep.
You never get to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really hard. And then you also had to read 39 different things, and maybe those things were actually better. Maybe they weren't. I will tell you actually a good example of this one was, and it kind of spurred this whole thing when I saw it, and it was somebody asking about their sick fish. Right, and so it very clearly was sick, and there was 30 posts in there all about how it had ick, right? And then about 31 or 35 or whatnot, somebody said, no, that looks like velvet. And it was absolutely velvet or brook.
Yep.
I spotted right away, and I don't know which one it was for sure in this case because it's hard to see in the photo, but it definitely wasn't ick. And so 30 deep, somebody finally gave the right answer of, hey, that's velvet or brook. But
what do we do about it?
Yeah, man, 100 posts in, there wasn't one in there about how do you actually solve this, right? Like, well, you helped me identify it, man, but like I'm still screwed. I still have this sick fish. So what we want to do, man, really is, give the best answer perfectly as humanly possible at the beginning, and let the conversation flourish from there. So
how are we going to do that is the question.
Well, I just want to kind of do our best to avoid the sea of unhelpful answers, right? And like some of this is just opinion, so you can't go moderating all this stuff out. We're never going to do that. Everybody is free to speak their mind and share and interact because we're wrong all the time. All people are always wrong. So it is the community's collective. But if we can shape it a little bit with the 300 years worth of reefing that's inside these walls, I think we can at least get the beginning of the conversation honed. Right?
For sure.
All right. So what's coming first, man? There's changes coming. Starts today. What's the first one that's happening?
7-day-a-week coverage.
Boom! Right on, man.
You want more BRS?
Hey,
You
man,
want
big
more
thank you.
BRS.
Big thank you to you guys. Because I went to our marketing director, Jeff, and I'm like, man, the problem here is there's no answers on the weekends. What can we do? And he said, man, I'm going to go to Nick, and I'm going to go to Adam and say, can we work this out? And you guys restructured your lives a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it sounds like it's a little bit of an improvement for both of you, because we gave you carte blanche, figure out your perfect schedule.
Change things around a little.
Yeah, and so I think that's kind of cool, man. And now, so we have 7 days a week. Still business hours type of hours, but 7 days a week, you're gonna get an answer from BRS, man. So that's big thank you. So, what are the hours again, on the weekends? So what can we expect?
So me, I'll be more Saturday morning time. I'll probably hop in later in the night just to cover some stuff. But
And you?
Yeah, I'm working like a kind of a second shift on Sunday. Honestly, most of us are out doing stuff during the day, and then we come home to our reefs. So my kind of 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. Actually covers a lot of the activity in the group.
Nice.
It does. Most people are definitely sitting at home at night.
Coming back from the weekend,
Yeah,
relaxing.
and then they look
Tank
at their
time.
tank and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, what am I gonna do about this algae?
Yeah.
That's what I do anyway. I don't know. Yeah. So that is one. And the second thing, what are you gonna do?
My favorite part. This is my favorite one,
Yes.
actually. This the change that is coming that these guys and maybe you and I will try to get on there, but mostly these guys, they're going to be the first ones to answer. Now, it happens sort of right now, where you get in there and they get to approve a post and then be the first one to answer. Every post they get to be the first one to answer, which means, which is helpful, if you find somebody's post where it applies to you, I'm having the same issue, you know right away that I can go to the very first post or very first comment in that whole thread, whether it's 50, 100, or 200 comments, and the first one's going to be the answer from BRS.
So this is what we're shooting for here too. Is now you show the picture. It says, "Hey, is this Aptasia?" Yes ain't good enough, right?
Yep.
And so what we're shooting for is to create and craft, man, the most helpful answer possible, right? Yes, that is Aptasia. It looks like you have a big problem, small problem, whatever. These are the 4 things that you should do progressively to try to solve this thing.
Or not do.
Or not do. These are the 3 things you definitely should not do, right? And, try to craft it. Or, hey, my fish has ick, right? Well, so, here's the things that you should do. This is more than we can solve inside of a single paragraph. Here's 3 resources that are the most productive at helping you solve this thing. If you follow what this guy says, you will absolutely be able to solve this thing, or at least have the highest percentage.
Yep.
And if you show a fish that has velvet on it and is going to die, I think it's helpful to just acknowledge that that fish is probably going to pass away, right? That specific fish, you probably don't have the resources to solve it right now. If it has brook or velvet, you maybe don't have formalin around or whatever. But here's the thing, is you can regret the situation because this thing's got about 24 hours to live at the state that most of the time they're shown. But here's the 5 things you can do right now to be ready for it next time, which is have 5 really cheap products around. And, here's a link on how to deal with it when it gets here, right? And so you get the information that you need that's most helpful instead of, yep, that's it, deal with it. And so that's what we're hoping for, is to craft some of those perfect answers, and so really get them so that you can rely on some of the best information, and they'll just get kind of perfected over time.
Yeah. Probably not going to have the perfect answer for everything right now, right out of the gate.
Not day one.
But eventually, and then that builds into maybe a library of stuff that we can do.
So next year, 1 year from now, we'll celebrate the perfect library. Absolutely. So that's the goal, right? I really want the answers to be something I believe is accurate and helpful. That's just number 1 for me. Yeah. So, what else do you think is going to happen? Anything else?
Well, the rest of the community is going to get to comment afterwards.
Yeah.
We're not going to be the only people.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like you guys answer and shut it down and that's end of conversation.
No.
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
we want the conversation.
So what I want you to do is tell Adam he's wrong, right? Yeah, or like, hey Nick, that was a great attempt at the perfect answer, but you know what? You missed this thing. You should have told him X. And
Steel
what he
sharpening
does
steel.
is perfect. Let me recraft the perfect answer, right? Because there is one. There's a
Yeah,
perfect
yeah.
answer. It's Aptasia, right?
Yeah.
And so what we want is a communication of, hey, I tried that, it didn't work. Hey, I did try that. That was awesome advice. And then the community man can elevate the conversation and hopefully get past just kind of this sea of the same kind of things.
Regurgitation, yeah.
Yeah, and the goal here again is not to just be another Facebook group out in the universe, because there's
Yeah.
no shortage of those. You want to
Yeah.
join a Facebook group that has like no controls to it, and you just kind of talk reefing. Man, there are 36 of them.
Yeah.
They're all awesome. I know Reef to Reef has a really good one, and the community there is probably one of the smarter ones. And so, other than you have to be respectful to each other over there, outside of that, man,
Join 'em.
Join the no hold barred, man. You just have a super awesome conversation. Here, it's BRStv. So start there and elevate the conversation after that, perfecting these answers, trying to get the best we can. So there will be a delay because either one of you guys sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, either of you have any other life than reefing.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for an answer at 3 a.m.,
Probably not going to happen.
yeah. So that answer is going to come a few hours later,
That's
right?
okay.
So, and you can answer either place. So you can go to your favorite other group if you want, or forum and whatnot, and answer here. And one of them will probably come faster than the other one. So be it. It's just kind of a trade-off of those two things.
Your
Right?
information. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last piece. Oh yeah. I don't know. What's the last piece of this?
I mean, it is different. So, I mean, like I said, or like we said earlier, and like Ryan was just talking about, like, there's forums out there, there's Facebook groups out there, there's all of these different places for you, for the community to interact, and even, I think, even all of us here still go out and interact on these things. We're not just limited to one. Like, I'm on the forums a lot. These guys are on the forums a lot, even personally, just, tank threads and things like that. So, those communities exist. This one intentionally, the Bulk Reef Supply one, BRS, Ask BRStv, is intentionally made for us to be like the first responders, if you will, to these, so that we can be like a trusted single source of somebody to listen to, rather than listening to everybody. If you want to just listen to somebody, that's kind of what we're here for. Like, listen to us if you want to.
Awesome. And in that spirit, there's one other change that's coming. It's got a few little tingles attached to it, and we're implementing a code of conduct, right? So this was like a Wild West for a little bit, right? Like, it wasn't really sure how to manage a group, and I'll just be frank, because I like to be frank, you know what? Like, oh man, that guy's being kind of a jerk. Well, like, if we ban him, that's like a customer. Right? Like, how do you go around banning customers? That's just crazy. And so the choice is ban a customer as being a jerk. Just don't have a forum or a group, so you don't have to do that. Or 3, do what's right. I just directed all the guys to do what's right. So I'm okay with the fact that if people are being jerks and they just can't help themselves to be jerks, then we're going to have to ask you to leave the group. And I understand that means you may hold that against us and not shop with us, but I hope that all the other people that are getting respected actually outweigh one jerk. I don't know. I don't know how to say it any other way than that. It's just, you have to be real. So we're going to go beyond that, and the part of that is because I just have a standard of how people treat people, and like, I don't want to be part of any group where I know that people are being rude to each other. And I don't care. It's the thousandth post about Aptasia. This guy's got a problem with Aptasia. He came here and asked for help. We're going to help him. So it doesn't matter. And like, is it annoying if you're the person that's answered that thing 5,000 times? Maybe. But like, I think one of the coolest things I've ever seen is Randy Holmes Farley on Reef to Reef. And every single time, and he's answered that question about calcium chloride or whatever, like maybe some of the magnitude is 22,000 times, and every one of them ends with happy reefing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And it may feel like copy and paste, but the answer's pretty much still the same.
Yeah.
You know what? You helped another person today.
Yeah.
You know,
he wasn't a jerk about it.
So a lot of us like only want to help people for like a little while. Like I answer that question until I feel like I've done my due justice from the information that was given to me. And there's other people that just help forever, right? And
Yeah.
he's one of them. And so I think a good model for everybody. So inside that, there is a code of conduct here. I'm not going to read all of it off. I'll just give you a general thing. If you want to go find the nitty gritty, you can.
We'll post it up later.
All right, sweet. So number one, man, is just the golden rule: post onto others as you would have them post onto you.
Ah.
Oh, that's so hard. So what that really means, man, is think about what you're saying and ask yourself if it really needs to be said before you hit the enter key.
Yeah.
Right?
Probably applies to like memes and gifs and fun things like that too.
Just
Yeah, anything, man, especially if you think it could be insulting to someone. And I get the whole thing like of, well, maybe these people's skin isn't thick enough. You know what? Thick skin is very great for your buddies. I'm going to go out to beers with Randy later and give him some ribbing. We'll laugh. I don't do that to strangers. I don't look over at the bar across or at the table and give them a ribbing. That isn't well received. You get beat up. So, like, in this case, the same thing, man. Think about whether or not you need to say that, and then don't, even though it's the internet. And so, like, just breeze through this stuff, man. No profanity, flaming, insulting, harassing, threatening other members. That stuff doesn't really happen all that often, but don't do it anyway. No spamming or shilling gear. There's a couple of people that are definitely paid to say some of the stuff they say.
Oh, yeah.
No more, dude. So, like, if you openly state it, and it's helpful to the community. I use X products. Yes, they do support my tank in whatever way, but this information is deemed helpful by the moderators internally here, as well as Ryan and Nick. Then you're game, man. If you're helping people, you're helping people. If it's just a shill stuff, man, end of the story. We also helpful advice here, man. We have welcome it all over the place, even sometimes when it means recommending a competitor or whatnot. If we don't sell it, man, so be it. I think you need to share it. Specifically, you can share it via like private messaging, but at the same time, there is something in the magnitude between all the people that are involved in doing this, like 200 grand a year that's being invested in helping people. So I just ask that everybody respect the effort that kind of goes in that. Don't go out of your way to link to a competitor for whatever, man. It's just like kind of mutual respect and really obvious, to be honest. But if you think that you got a real value for somebody, man, share whatever you want via private message or whatever. So no big deal. And obviously, don't talk about politics, religion, race, sexual orientation, all of that nonsense, man. This is a reefing forum. And so I'm like really sad that we have to apply rules to all of this because there's not a single thing in there where anybody's like, oh, no, I want to do that desperately. And shouldn't anyway.
Yeah.
So, these are all really obvious things. But now what's happened, man, is I definitely have empowered everybody to make sure that. So if you say these things, they're just going to delete it. If you say these things with malice and you just want to do it like over and over again, somebody is going to slap your hand. And if you just can't help yourself, you're going to be asked to join a different group. And all that stuff's sad, but it's actually beneficial to the other 99.99% of people who all just want to ask stuff about their reef tanks.
Yeah.
So,
18,500 people. I think a majority of them, out of the 16,000 that are there a day, 95, 6, 7, 8% are fine with each other.
18,000
super
liters,
nice.
5 jerks.
Yeah.
It's really a
right.
small amount.
So let's answer some questions. That was really all it. So just for you, if you joined in later, man, like what's going to happen? We're going 7 days a week. We are going to answer all the posts first. There might be a little bit of a delay in that because of that. And there's now a code of contact. Somebody will, if you are a jerk, somebody will let you know. And questions, man. Questions
tons
of the day.
of them.
All right, let's answer them. I can't read that far, so you're
I
gonna
got
have to do it.
I got to go last. All right, let's start at the top. So Peter asks, is it always necessary to quarantine fish? Go.
I'll let you
Man,
know. Hardest one possible.
Necessary is a strong word. The problem that I have with quarantine is that if you don't know how to do it properly, there's probably a better chance that you kill the fish in quarantine than you're actually preventing disease. So if you're going to quarantine, research how to do it and take your time.
Practice.
practice
think-
is what makes perfect, really.
Yeah, I think is it necessary to quarantine fish? I say it depends on where you get them from. This is what we found here with this tank behind us, and some of the fish that went in the BRS 160 is we bought it from a source who did all that quarantine for us. Now there was a price associated with it, but what it meant is I don't have to go through all of that, and I don't have to do all of that on my own. I know I can just put them in, dump them, go, and they're good.
So these are fish like Achilles tangs and powder blue tangs and stuff that are like
Sensitive.
notorious for ick and
Yeah.
problems. No
Yeah.
problems,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, absolutely, you get them from somebody who's actually done it right. I will just say it like it is. Don't buy fish from a fish mill, right? And if you do, know that you're taking a sick fish home and you're going to have to treat it yourself.
Yeah.
And you may just get lucky, right? So you get puppies from puppy mills all the time. You just get lucky, but is one of the lower percentage places to get a pet from. So if you quarantine it, I will tell you the first time I quarantined fish, all I did is kill all of them. I mean, that was like 13 years ago. But like, yeah, there's a super high risk because you're dealing with chemicals and all kinds of things, and you haven't done it before, and there is all kinds of sea of bad advice out there on how to do it. No real distinct, do this for sure and
Yeah.
you'll be successful.
And it's a tank that you most likely have set up the day before.
Yeah, and it's just a difficult thing to do. So I will say, to answer this, is it always necessary to quarantine your fish? I will say that almost nobody will do that in the beginning. It doesn't matter if 50 different people come out and tell you that you should and even try to shame you for not doing it. The reality is a vast majority of people don't quarantine their fish. And it kind of starts off as looking, not caring at all and just bringing fish home. And then you get better and better over time at looking at the fish, and then you get better at understanding which of these fish stores actually even care, right? Do they quarantine them for you there? And then at some point you get to like where you're buying from Elliot at Marine Collectors,
Yeah.
where he'll go down to the fish row, select the healthiest fish to begin with because he's got a trained eye for this, and then treat them proactively, and then ship you a healthy fish, right? And yes, it definitely costs twice as much. But like you didn't have to do any of that yourself, and you're not risking the life of that fish as well as every other pet in the tank. So
Yeah,
it kind of
true.
goes like that. Some people will break in the middle and set up quarantines at their house. And for this, what it's worth, we got a new series of me setting up a tank in my house, and Elliot from Marine Collectors is actually going to come out, and we're going to build what hopefully will be the basis of the perfect answer to that question later, which is
How to
this is
quarantine.
how you quarantine
Yeah.
a fish Elliot's way, so you can do it yourself and achieve the same results if you want, if you don't want to buy the fish from him.
Yeah.
Right? My guess is after you buy the quarantine tank and all the other stuff, it'll be like the same
Break
price and
even.
not worth your time. But at the same time, Elliot is probably going to be overwhelmed with.
Yeah.
'Cause I keep talking about how much I like this guy, which means I'm ruining my own resource.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, that's a good question, man.
Thanks, Peter.
Hopefully answered to your satisfaction.
I do want to acknowledge Ryan down here. Super chat, $1.99. Maybe
Oh.
we'll buy these guys some coffee.
Oh, thank you very much.
Just because I love BRS. Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks,
man.
Ryan.
I would love the super chats. I mean, like $1.99 doesn't seem much, but like it's like kind of a weird
Awesome.
vote of thank you, man. I don't know. So thank you very much.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
Chris had a question. Within the past week, he noticed that bubble algae to show in his tank and spread in the tank. Do you have any recommendations to treat and get rid of this in the tank? So bubble algae.
Yeah, and keep nutrient levels low. I like to do emerald crabs and UV sterilizer because emeralds will eat it. And
Big
any
fan of
spores that
emeralds.
get in the water, then UV takes care of it. I don't know if you guys do any other methods besides that, but
For people that have really good luck with Vibrant.
I've heard some-
bacterial thing.
I
with
think,
them
I think
clearing it out.
Nick had mentioned that too. I was kind of reading the comments too, and I think he might have answered this one. It's try Vibrant. I've heard that too.
Often-
I've always done emerald crabs.
And Foxface, I've heard good things about. Honestly, I've had terrible luck with bubble algae. I've emerald crabs, Foxface, never eaten it for me. So
Perfect answer.
So
this is not my expertise. I'm gonna
This
go
is
with
kind
Nick
of
here.
a really good example of the sea of information you get, like
I see
that
this.
when
This is
asked
it.
on the spot. So you're going to kind of hone the thing down into information. And I'll tell you, it kind of looks like this to me. If you got bubble algae in the tank, once a pest is introduced into the ecosystem, the chances of eradication, like get without some kind of chemical solution, get low. So you can just get some kind of pets or some kind of predators like foxfish or the emerald crabs, and they'll probably spread it and eat it at whatever rate they do. But, you know, eventually, hopefully it'll keep it in control. Like, I know for sure we have money Nudibrox in the 160, but the RAS just keeps it in control, and so because of that, we don't see him anymore, right? And so, like, it's just one of those things where you just kind of put predators in. And then outside of that, there tends to be, if that doesn't work for you, often it's because the fish you bought just doesn't have a taste for that thing, or, you know, the emerald crabs just aren't working for whatever reason. You know, definitely manual removal, but manual removal on a lot of things tends to spread it. Scrubbing off Heraldry almost always spreads it, and scrubbing Bryopsis spreads it for sure. Popping the little bubbles definitely spreads it. So a couple things that you could do. If you only have one, rather than pop it, I would take some epoxy and put, or super glue or whatever, put it right over there so it will die and everything else will be encaptured in there. If you have more than one spot of it, it's too late. I probably wouldn't go that route. But definitely I like to encapsulate whatever it is and let it die underneath the epoxy and kill it that way. So these are some of the things, man, we can put together into like a real compact answer. Try these 3 things in this order depending on the quality or the seriousness of the issue. All right, next one.
Cool. Dylan Grant, what lights are on the tank behind you? These are Ecotech Radeon XR15s, the Gen 4s with the diffusers on them, and they are set to the WWC schedule that they run in their showroom, which is sort of like white for the first 5 hours, or more whiter tone, more fuller spectrum tone, and then at the end they get blue. And for the 7 hours after that, or 7 or 8 hours after that, they're pretty blue. And we run it at 65%, I believe, on this tank. So
I'm just gonna ask you guys something. If you guys, I said this to somebody the other day, and like I debate the best lights out there all the time, and they're best for different occasions and different purposes. But this one, Radeons with diffusers spread out to cover all the area, most similar to the old era of halides and T5s, that blanketed light, or is there something better?
I would say, I mean, they do a really good job. I use Radeon at home. I have Radeon at my tank over here at work, and we put them over a lot of our systems. They do give good spread, especially with the diffusers. It gets rid of that disco ball effect that you don't like.
Yeah, if they could figure out a way to make a bigger panel style light, like the Orphic with a diffuser on it, that would be like the best of the best.
Cool.
I'm a big T5 fan myself.
Me too.
But just because it's the most cost-effective way to go.
I must have been, it was election day. I flew out to Philadelphia, man. I had a 2-hour presentation. I made all those guys sit through it about why they need to make a panel one and how it's the future, right? If they could take their technology and turn it into a panel, why it's the future. So hopefully that comes, and actually the diffuser came out of that conversation. So that came out a matter of months later. But to me right now, they've solved quite a bit of it. Granted, it's an expensive installation for sure, but you know, what we've done is diffuse it so all the spectrums are blended properly. And in the tank, I don't see little bits of red and green shooting around or anything like that. And it's not, it doesn't give me a seizure looking at it. It's blended really well. So in and out of the tank looks sharp. And again, man, a million miles away from the cheapest solution, but real close to what I'd call the best solution.
But you're also a gearhead, so there's that part too.
Yeah, I would call it gear junkie.
Gear junkie.
Yeah, like I'd have to go to meetings if you made me stop. So yeah, absolutely. All right, so the next one.
I just call out a couple of more super chats here. We got 2 pounds from Anthony.
Oh man, from Europe. Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. What is that? Like $2.40?
I don't know these days.
I don't know.
Man, awesome.
And then $4 from
Look at that.
Mauricio.
Oh, well, thank you again. I mean, that's the most
Appreciate
you've ever
it.
heard. Like, that's
That was a big
$8
one.
today.
Coffee for everybody.
Yeah, dude, coffee. I'm bringing them tomorrow. And we're getting special. Like, I don't know what I'm going to get, but I'll get something special for everybody.
He says that, but the coffee's included in the break room.
Yeah, it's
Well, no, not that garbage. No, tomorrow is something special for the Ask BRStv team. You know what? If you follow my Ryan BRS Instagram or Facebook, I will show you whatever I get them. And that kind of commitment, $8 worth.
Oh. And then the last one that we got here,
man,
had to
$10
holler
worth.
at your Reef Boy, $2 from him, and it says, "Hey, is Black Friday here yet?"
Hey,
No, it's a no.
he just sent us his sticker too, so we got that on our community sticker board.
Right on,
Cool.
man.
Thanks.
Another question.
All right, so I'll get into a question. Odile, he is asking, his solidity is at 1.0 or 1.24. I'm guessing there's an O in there somewhere. 1.024. Is that too low?
Guys?
I mean, you can definitely keep corals at a salinity level that low. Natural seawater is a little higher than that, so I try to match natural seawater as best as possible.
I like 2.5 or 2.6, but I mean you could get it with 2.4. Yeah.
I'm gonna say that most likely everybody is somewhere in between 1.024 and 1.026, maybe 1.027 or 8, and that probably is related to the instrument you're using, the calibration, and how often you calibrate it. The digital one has a fluctuation range of 0.002, so it could be 0.026, could be 0.024. As long as it's consistent, is my answer. Like if you're gonna be, if yours says 1.024 and you always keep it at 1.024, you never change it, then you're probably stability, and that's probably the best way to go.
I'll just say that you can keep it anywhere in that range and have a fine deep retain.
Yeah.
So there is no perfect answer. Anybody who says they know the right answer is wrong. And the only right answer I think in this is if you don't know, defer to natural seawater. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't know, defer to natural seawater, and that will not do you wrong, because there has been millennia of coral that have thrived, grown, reproduced themselves in that environment. The only thing I will say is often if you have low salinity, go check your calcium and alkalinity, because there's a good chance that those things are low too, unless you've corrected up for it, which in case everything you're not measuring is actually depleted. Will everything die? No. But you'll never know the difference between whether or not it could thrive even more or not. And somebody may have some special matrix out there, but I would just say try to match natural seawater levels the best you can, and you probably won't fail.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Blue Damsel wants to know if anybody's going to Magna in Orlando.
Oh, yeah.
We are, and Adam's going to be there too.
Yeah, my first Reef show, actually.
Awesome.
right on. So what we're doing there, by the way, if anybody wants to join us, is we're giving out $2,500 worth of Reef gear every day. So you get a gift certificate
Big giant
every day.
check to hold and get your picture with.
Come on down. Actually, I should say Friday and Sunday, right?
Yeah.
We're also giving out 2,000 different shirts, right? So you want a free shirt to commemorate the event, man, you'll get that. And I think like everybody's getting like a $25 gift certificate from us too, man. So like if there's any more reason to stop by our booth while you're there, I don't know what it would be. So hopefully we got the busiest booth in the whole place because we're really jamming it out.
And then 2 weeks before that, we are going to be in Reefapalooza, California with Nick. Nick's going to be there with us.
Nick, is this your first Reef show too?
Yeah.
Nice.
First big one, yeah.
And my first one was IMAC in Chicago. That doesn't exist anymore. But, yeah, that was super fun. So there's speakers and stuff at those things. You can learn all kinds of different stuff. I mean, I used to sit through every single last one of them and learn all kinds of different things I would never have learned anywhere else. By the way, Dave, you can't see him, but Dave is also filming all of those speaker talks, so you can actually watch them on YouTube as well. I will say it's way more fun in person, but you can definitely watch on YouTube as well. So yeah, we will be there at both of those shows, giving away all kinds of stuff, shirts, money, and gift certificates, and got a fun little game. You can go walk around and get stampies and stuff.
That's super fun.
Yeah. Right on. Next.
We got bunch of questions here to get through. Let's address the super chat here from Tomas. Not sure what type of monetary. Is it Swedish?
Oh,
The
wow.
Swedish krona. Thank you.
that
And I'm
sounds
guessing Tomas. So 200 from them. What is that in the dollar conversion?
10 cents.
10
10
cents.
cents.
Thank you.
We'll take
Cool.
I'll take
I
it.
mean,
Let's
we're
go to
at
my
10,
coffee
10
tomorrow.
now.
He says, you guys got me started with the videos and you support you guys. Even though we don't ship there, unfortunately, we will one day maybe. And there's so much worth more. What we do is so much so much more than what his donation is. So
thank you, man.
$20 US, he says. That's awesome.
That's super, super awesome, man. I appreciate that because it's not the money as much as the feedback is.
Yeah.
Like we spend all day talking about this stuff, and like so much passion goes into these things. For those of you who don't know, like I just can't help but geek out on this stuff. So I'm gonna do this later. I can't do it today, but tomorrow we got these UV things going on. Randy and I have been talking about this all day long. And then I stopped and like had to live Facebook Live like 2 other vendor guys. Man, like, dude, you won't believe what I just saw.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, if you follow my Facebook thing, Ryan BRS, or is it BRS Ryan? I forget.
Your Instagram?
Oh, it's just Ryan Batchelor, actually, my Facebook one.
Facebook one.
Yeah, Facebook
Okay.
is...
Go find him on the hashtag AskBRStv Facebook group.
Facebook,
as
Ryan Batchelor, follow me, friend me, and I'll let you in. And also just Ryan BRS on Instagram. But on Facebook tomorrow, I think I'm gonna bring the camera over there and show everybody early what's going on. Because with these 6 tanks in there, there's something really, really cool that I don't think people are gonna expect, because I didn't expect it.
These are the UV tanks where we've got 2 tanks set up with UV slow flow, one with old rock, one with brand new rock. We've got 2 tanks set up with old rock. I mean, you guys have to see
You're
it.
gonna have to see how it
It's
comes together.
amazing. All right,
but everybody's mouth kind of dropped about this one, so it totally changed the universe. All right, next one.
okay. BRS is a Harlequin Tusk okay to have in a reef tank? I think we had one in the BRS 160. What happened to him?
The crash.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he got moved out to here, right?
Yep.
From the BRS 160, and then we did have a crash in this thing. That
Yeah.
you
There's
and
a
I
whole
live
separate
streamed.
live stream on that one. Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, you said it was $20, so $30 worth of coffee tomorrow. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that better be
I'm
some
trying to
good
think of what
coffee.
that actually is.
That's really good
So,
coffee. And actually, we just
yeah.
got another 5 euros from E.N. And he says, greetings from Amsterdam. Advice about moving to a new home. He's moving next week, or he or she is moving next week. Going bare bottom with new rocks and has 4 bio blocks in already. So I'm guessing those bio blocks have already been cycled to some degree or have some kind of bacteria on them. Just wants to know about thoughts about moving into a new home.
You know what the coolest thing today? I mean, I don't know. It's like we're getting cool coffees tomorrow, but too, man, like all the different forms of currency that come in from all over the world. So I don't know, just seeing the global presence that's happening here, especially because the time zones might be not convenient to be watching this right this moment.
Oh, that's true.
So that's awesome. Next.
So saltwater reef. I was told that the tridents are on hold for 4 to 6 weeks. Is that true?
I have not heard that.
I don't think I've heard.
I don't think that's
I
true.
didn't hear that.
I don't think that's true. I literally talked to Terrence today.
He was
If true,
FaceTiming Terrence.
That was one of the guys that's FaceTiming. You couldn't believe it.
He walked by and he asked his phone, FaceTime Terrence, and then he took off on his little wheelie thing. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. So I don't think that's the case. At least I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Huge fan, Ryan. Quick question: How do you like the AI Prime HD for a BioCube 32? Abraham.
So actually, I just did a video just like this one. Just not a 32, but a 25, and I called it the perfect light. It's provided you don't want to have a bunch of SPS, but you want to brew a brand new tank that, or you're a new reefer, or you just want like LPS or some like easy to take care of corals. Hey, this thing isn't capable of being too powerful, and if you crank it up, it will be powerful enough.
Yeah.
Which means this is the sweet spot of success for a tank that size, and you'll probably really like it.
Yeah. I'd put a BioCube. I'd put one over a BioCube 32. I think.
Yeah, for sure. They're easy to use too, which is kind of just icing on the cake.
All the phone.
One of the easy, I would say that the primes are probably the easiest light to hook up one to. In like you could probably do it in 15 seconds.
And we found out from a really cool Facebook hashtag AskBRStv Facebook group post that within the AI app, if you have an iOS device, there's secret button presses that you can push on your screen and get a game.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
party
no way.
mode.
Yeah, and party mode. It's really fun.
I haven't seen party mode.
It's like
nobody tells me these things.
you know the game where you're trying to hit all the things that are falling down, Galaxa
Tetris?
or no. You're like a ship and you're
Close.
trying to hit the color things coming down. As you hit the different colors, it changes your light to those colors. It's really fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're gonna have to try it out.
I mean, I just played in that Dave and Buster's the other day. Not gonna play it at home.
You can do it on your tank. All right, let's see. Naz asks, how or do you guys go on vacation because of all the reef tanks? I just got back from vacation, but we've got a bunch of people in here taking care of tanks. I actually don't have one at home.
I mean, I took like a month off this summer, but my version of month off is I worked at home. But yeah, so we do. I usually go to Hawaii for a couple weeks in the winter, and I don't know. Yeah, so you just got to find ways to make sure that the tank is taken care of. I know I see Terrence floating around in there. He goes on his vacations, man, and you got all this automation, but you also have somebody local that will go and like deal with it if you actually have a problem.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I left for 10 days earlier this year, and it was like the most stressful 10 days ever, leaving the reef on just kind of autopilot.
I will tell you that if you've been doing this for as long as any one of us has been doing this, and you can't be away from the tank for 10 days, you have not designed the tank well enough, because there's always going to be some week where you need to go somewhere,
Yep.
and if the tank can't survive that, like, it's got a limited lifespan. So there's all kinds of ways in the universe to be able to get past a vacation. But yes, we do go on vacation.
Cool.
Terrence is actually out there, so
Yeah, he said don't
uh,
forget to pitch the rap contest, which we
we
did.
already did. So, hey, by the way, we're not the only ones sponsoring that thing. We didn't come out with 2,000 shirts on our own, give away $5,000 on our own. It's a bunch of vendors that are joining us, all of some of our favorite people. And so the Neptune crew, the Ecotech crew,
Yep.
Jeremy at Brightwell, well, I guess the whole Brightwell crew, CJ and WWC. I feel like I'm missing one. Kessel
Kessel.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
right.
They were actually
Kessel
here
was
just
here.
yesterday showing us a bunch of secrets. So,
Ooh.
yeah, I can't tell you, but there's secrets in the universe.
All right, let's skip over that. Thoughts on adding a KH director to the alkalinity testing series by Keith. Keith wants to know.
What is this?
Thoughts on adding a KH director to the alkalinity testing series? So
I think
we did all those the tests, and I was reading some of the comments on this on the forums too. So we did the testing on accuracy and consistency between handheld test kits, so test kits. And just because we had the data, we threw in the Neptune Trident results too, and it was all on the BRS 160 water. So then there was the the flooded comments. Well, what about the KH directors and all these other ones? And
API test
and,
kits.
yeah, and the biggest thing was we took our most popular alkalinity test kits, maybe not all of them, and also we don't have the KH director hooked up to the BRS 160, and we don't have we have an Altronic here somewhere, but we don't have it hooked up to the BRS 160. So I think it would be cool if we had a reference tank and we hooked multiple different of these automated type testing machines to them, and then kind of came up with the results. But I mean, if you don't, the standard is really the hard part here, like a known standard of what the water is to compare them all.
The second hard part is the time.
And
Right?
the
So
time.
I would love to do that too. Like I'd love to do all.
We
these
come up with
things,
bright ideas
right?
all the time.
So people ask all the time when we do like test
Can we
10
do
salts.
this? Can we do this?
Well, how
Can
come
we
you
do
didn't
this?
test the other 16?
Yeah.
Well, oh my gosh, bro, like, we're doing what we can, right? Like, remember jamming. Poor Aaron today is doing testing 10 salts for something else. So we're doing stratification tests.
Definitely over 40 hours of a work week.
Yeah, the poor guy, man. Like, it doesn't always go right the first time. So you like learn and you repeat, and like there's so much work. It isn't just mixing up some salt and hope for the best.
No, we try to do it right.
Yeah, and so so absolutely, man. I would like to test the KH director. I saw that actually in an email today about something else too. The reality of it with, I mean, you're planned out 3 months.
I'm planned
'cause I
out
did it
till
with you.
I'm planned out till December for all of the investigates.
So would I say that that's possible? Yes. Would I like to know? Yes. Will it happen in the next 3 months? Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. So do what we can when we can. I don't know. What else we got?
We've got.
Man, there's so many questions
I know.
today.
We're gonna start knocking them out. Isaac was saying that he asked, "Hi guys, I've been bottling phosphate for 6 months now, coming from my rocks. What to use? Is it easier to just grab a new rock?" So I'm guessing he's been testing for phosphate for 6 months now, coming from his rocks.
Yep.
Okay.
And what would he use to bring that phosphate down, or is it just easier to grab new rock?
So I'm going to take 2 passes on this one.
Okay.
Right? So sometimes it is coming from your rock. Sometimes it's just that somebody told you that it is. Right? So I don't know which one. I will tell you that using organic rock, like Pukani and stuff, I saw the same thing. So it's just there's a steady stream of phosphate that comes off of it, and that's why people use GFO and other things, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. It's just going to happen. Then there's rocks like the Reef Saver rock or the cement rocks and stuff. The Reef Saver is like that mined rock that comes out of Florida and million-year-old reef. I've never been able to get a phosphate reading no matter how long we soaked it in anything. So rocks like that, no. Will it eventually bind some phosphate from all the food and fish turds and stuff in there?
Yeah.
Maybe over time.
Yes.
But in the end, I would say you just can't solve those problems over and over again. Like you can't just keep tearing your rock out or you're gonna have a failed tank. So if there's a phosphate problem, there's tons and tons of solutions to that. I'll say GFO is definitely one of them. Another one is like lithium chloride. What is the one Brightwell says? Phosphate
Phosphate-E or something?
Phosphate-E.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the cool thing, like WWC likes that one because there's
Binds
a
the-
known response
yeah.
to it, right? So
Dose this much, lose this much phosphate.
yep. So like, say I had 0.01 phosphate or whatnot, and I wanted to only go half of that. I can dose a certain amount to achieve that instead of stripping it all out like GFO does. So it works in a different mechanism and stuff. But if your rock really is leaching megatons of phosphate, it's probably because stuff's dying on it too. You got sponges and stuff in it. So I'd go looking for that before I go looking for chemical solutions. But I also be careful, like that may be your solution problem and it may be something else. And just know, what's the biggest source of phosphate in your tank?
Food.
Food, man. You put phosphate intentionally in the tank every single day, right? That is the number one source of phosphate. When I started this hobby, everybody was complaining that phosphate was coming from their carbon, right? It does. Carbon, like the stuff like the ROX and stuff like that has like almost because it's like a pharmaceutical product. But all the other stuff out there does have phosphate in it. It's coal and coconut and all kinds of organics that was burnt up, and the coal's been in the ground for millennia, comes out of this mine and then burnt up. So it does. But the way that people were testing it is they would take like a tablespoon and put it in a cup of water and then test for phosphate, and lo and behold, it had 0.1 phosphate. Well, to achieve that same standard in the tank here, in a 100-gallon tank, you'd have to put 16 gallons of carbon in the tank to achieve the same thing. Like, nobody would ever do that. It's not a real issue. So food, on the other hand, is the number one source of phosphate in your tank. You're dumping food in there, and be careful if you're more worried about your rock than you are about your food that you put in there, because that might be the number one source.
So our queue keeps filling up. We're almost 4 minutes to an hour. So
Yeah, we got
you wanna
4
just-
minutes left, and
you
I gotta
wanna
go.
Pick up our good ones here.
All right, pick
All
out
right,
as many as
let's
you
go.
got.
Quick, lightning round. Lightning
man.
round here.
Oh,
we gotta give stuff
wait.
away.
We gotta finish, man.
Yeah.
If we get 2 minutes left, we'll answer another one. But hey,
We're gonna give stuff away.
If you want to be a preferred reefer, that we give away stuff every single week in these lives.
Click.
This week's over $500 worth of stuff.
Click over here
Almost
somewhere.
every week's actually over $500.
Click over there somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere there'll be a link there in a minute to join the preferred reefer, but it's on every single page of our website. You earn all kinds of points. There's all kinds of special giveaways for everybody. There's also special giveaways like all the time, probably almost every week coming up real soon for the hashtag AskBRStv. So
Yeah.
join that thing as well.
Yeah.
But if you join the BRS or the preferred reefer thing, not only sometimes you win a lot of stuff, but you can get not just the orders that you're going to win here, but also just what's in your cart. So we want to make it fair, not make people spend money. So put some stuff in your cart, and we pull your name. We'll actually give you what's in your cart as well. But these two ones are actually orders, and so Adam Nowicki from New Jersey has got a Celts D 2400 controllable aquarium pump from Hydor, clear DI4 bracket, and you got 4 BRS filter socks with plastic ring. It was $339.58, and that's going to go all back to his account in form of reward points. So congratulations. And Mikhail Haith has got 1.5 gallons of DI resin from BRS, a BRS bulk pharma calcium chloride, and a bucket or a box, 200-gallon box of Instant Ocean. It's $182.35, going back to Michael's account.
Yes.
Randy usually does this like immediately after these shows, so
And I'll
you'll
send
be able
you
to go
an email.
spend it like immediately.
Immediately.
Go find something new fun to do.
Awesome.
All right,
Congrats,
guys.
guys.
So we do have 2 questions. So join the preferred reaver thing, please. It'd be super fun. Just keep giving away stuff. And during Black Friday is where we just go like total bonanza. So
For sure.
you definitely want to get in there before that.
Okay, a couple more questions to wrap this one up. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Blue Carbon Reefing asks, when is Ryan's home dream build starting, and how do we follow that progress?
Okay, here's the big deal, man. The way that you're going to follow that is right next to the subscribe button on YouTube. There's a little teeny bell, and you may not know what that bell does, but it will notify you when we release new videos.
It actually works.
Right? It actually works, and it will definitely show up in your app on your phone. You can go in your settings and stuff and make it send you an email too if you want. But That's the best way to find out that it's actually going to happen. The first episode is coming the day before MACNA,
29th or so, I believe. Yeah.
I mean, I can't help it. We're gonna go a little late because I'm gonna tell you about this one. I can't help it. I'm excited.
So
about
it's gonna look like your episode, and then you and I are coming back, or you and a guest are coming back live the same day.
Yeah, so we're switching up these lives a little bit. So first thing we're gonna do, man, this is like my dream tank, my own house. I'm super excited. I kind of feel like all of everything we've ever done in these videos is kind of leading towards like this one moment in time, man. And we're just gonna do something super cool here. I just can't. I'm just
Are you gonna
really
leak
excited.
the name? You haven't leaked
awesome.
the name yet.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, some places it's been.
If you've been here for an hour.
If you've been here with an hour, you deserve to know. It's gonna be called the BRS 360, man. Like, dude, it's a 360 gallon tank. It's like twice as big as the 160, right? Also, man, we're bringing this thing full circle. Like for 15 years, man, I've been keeping Reef tanks, and finally, I'm in a new house, and I got 2 little young ones. I'm gonna live here for like eons. It's where I want like my kids to grow up. And it's time to build a tank that's going to be around like forever. So I'm going to take everything that I know and build that spaceship, man, that isn't going to fail for decades, right? The life support system that I can go away for a month and know that this thing is taken care of, much less a week. It will not fail me. It will be epically expensive, right? But you know what? People put a lot of money because they want a fancy bathroom in their house, or they want the right fridge or whatever. I don't know. That's just not my priority. My priority is my pets in here, enjoy and sharing this really cool thing with my family. So I'm okay with the fact that I'm going to buy a gas generator for. I would never in a million years buy a natural gas generator.
You kick it on every once in a while.
But I'm going to take care of these pets in a different way because I'm betting on the future here in a different fashion.
10 years.
So, I'm shooting for like 20, man, but like 10 just sounds like
that's a good
more
hurdle.
reasonable number.
That's a good
right?
hurdle.
So that's like just like what you said though.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is I'm going to give you the challenge today of whatever it is we're trying to install. Like we'll talk about it and we'll explore it, and it'll probably be like about 10 minutes.
It'll be a nice video.
And then we're going to flow like right over into the live, like like real quick, probably a couple hours afterward. And if it goes all well, I mean, I haven't like asked everybody in the list. I got a few people involved already. We're going to invite a special guest, man, that happens to know something about this thing as well, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be me, Randy, and somebody else super special to get their opinion on it, and we'll be like talking protein skimmers live, man. We'll be talking, carbon, talking plumbing, electrical, plump paint, how to like get the flooring right. So all the nerdiest parts of like a really big tank in your house. Like how do you get the like overflows right? I mean, we can make a whole episode just about overflows because I spent like the last 3 weeks talking about it with Felix at Reef Savvy. So like, there's so much stuff that goes into one of these things, and like, they're just challenges, and you learn it over every single time you do it. So couldn't be more excited. Couldn't be more excited to do the actual episode. Couldn't be more excited to like just talk geeky end of this for like an hour afterward. If you sat through an hour full of this, you'll sit through that for sure.
Yeah.
If you want to know, man, hit that little bell next to the subscribe button because that is what's going to let you know.
I think it's like 3 weeks away before we drop the first episode.
Man.
And like you were saying, the episodes are only like 10 minutes where you get to the nuts and bolts of what the challenge is and how you solve it. It's the part after the live portion where you really just get a just open-ended talking.
Yeah.
So one of the things cool too, we're gonna do totally different. Like last time, man, you get to protein skimmers. It's like everything you know about protein skimmers. Protein skimmers, this, that, and try to like explain every last thing. Well, I mean, we've done that to death. So this time, like, hey, here's my challenge with the protein skimmer in my house. This is how I'm gonna solve it, right? Like, just skip right to the nuts and bolts of it. You've already heard all the protein skimmer technology, how it works, man. This is how I'm going to solve it. And this is how in my house what I would do despite anything, and that's just going to be the way it is. And there's things. I mean, like I don't know. I'm just super excited about it. We're going to kick a little more secrets. No more secrets out.
Okay, no more secrets.
In 3 weeks, it's going to be the day before we go to MACNA, so Thursday.
Yeah.
And I'll just leak right off the bat here. The first guy that's going to join is Jeremy over at Brightwell. And the reason I chose him is because I talk to that guy all the time, man, like so much that my wife hates him. So I'm just kidding. But like I talk to the guy all the time because he gives me all kinds of great ideas. We bounce off all this stuff. And one of the things, man, I talk about him too is he's kind of trying to plan his own dream tank in his house. And like there's all these barriers that prevent you. Like in my old house, I really wanted to do this. But like to do it upstairs in a room I want to do it, I was gonna have to tear the floors out and put support beams in. There's always a barrier. So how do you get around them in a way that you can actually solve it? And actually, I don't know exactly what episode it is, but Terrence is coming in for one about the cost, right? And so the cost, what does a dream tank like this kind of cost, you know, like in reality, man? Let's talk about the way it is. And the guy's already got one. Does anybody know how big his tank is at his house?
400 gallons,
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
4 something.
yeah.
Okay, so 400 something. He will be able to tell you exactly what this cost, you know, and how painful it might have been. And you know, it's just reality again. Like, you know, some of us drive Toyotas, some of us drive Toyota or drive Lexuses, and some of us drive used Toyota and have a Reef tank. Doesn't matter, man. I'm getting to work, and you just get the things you enjoy. So I don't know. I am now officially 5 minutes late, so we're
Okay.
gonna cut it off here.
Awesome.
And hey, thank you for joining us for a hashtag BRStv here. And thank
Thanks,
you,
Adam.
Nick. Thank you, Nick, and moderator. Thank you, Ryan, moderator. Thank you, Adam. And I'm just super excited about the future. So from this point on, all of your answers are gonna be answered by BRS. And actually, I shouldn't say that totally, because Nick and Ryan and the moderators were also, they're really smart, so they're gonna be able to answer some of those things too. Anything they feel like they're comfortable tackling, they'll answer first as well. All right.
Awesome.
See you guys next week.
Take care.